Tigrera wipes away the mirror message. She then says it's a great day to still be in the workroom. Typhlosion agrees. Kitty and Emma are quiet. Tigrera says she's excited for today's challenge.
I think the sisters are still upset that I pretty much said Kitty shouldn't have been in the top. Which honestly, most of us were thinking that since no one seems to be really stopping to comfort the sisters during their feels. But only Peridot and I called it as it was.
Honk asks what challenge everyone wants today. Peridot says she wants a design challenge. Kitty tells Peridot not to bother coming to her station when she can't figure out how to sew her basic look together. Peridot says she wasn't planning on needing Kitty's help.
The sisters may be really quiet, but they're fuming under the surface. And after all Kitty's shady comments about me, I'm living for it. Anyone got any popcorn?
There's a lot of negative energy here in the workroom. I'm trying not to let any of it get to me, but it feels like a fight's going to break out any moment today. It seems we're going to be walking on eggshells today around some queens.
Honk pulls Peridot aside and asks her how she's doing after yesterday. Peridot says she's over it, and she just wants to focus on today's challenge. Honk warns her that she may be over it, but the rest of the room isn't. Peridot asks why she should care. Honk tells her she should try to smooth things over with the sisters, otherwise it might create problems for her later in the competition. Peridot says she'll think about it.
I'm not going to take Honk's advice. He's nice, and maybe he'd do a lot to make sure he's on good terms with the sisters. But I don't care if they can't take the heat of the competition. Those two have been in the top ever since the start. They don't need to be babied cause I said I thought I should have been in the top. I never even said Kitty shouldn't have been. She shouldn't have been, but it's not my fault they made it about themselves.
Sonia says she'd like a dance challenge, she thinks it would be fun. Tigrera adds she'd also like a dance challenge, she is a performer after all. Emma says Tigrera can just fall into the bottom if she only wants to show she can lip-sync. Tigrera tells Emma that she's obviously got more to show than just lip-syncs. Emma asks what then because it's obviously not fashion after what she came out in the first challenge. Tigrera tells Emma she can talk about her fashion when she can explain why she thought Blaney would be impressed by an off-the-rack business suit. Weiss chuckles, and Kitty asks her what's funny. Weiss says she just is enjoying the drama. Kitty tells Weiss she's sure Blaney loved the drama too when she had to reprimand her for shredding May's dress. Weiss asks Kitty if she has any new material. Kitty says she doesn't need any when the shoe fits. Sonia shouts silence, and the room goes quiet. She then says a lot has happened already, but they should try at least to start the day on a good note. Weiss says she'll stop celebrating Tigrera gathering the sisters when they stop shading her unprovoked. Emma says Tigrera has not been gathering anything but her suitcase, and if Weiss has a problem with anything they've said, she should remember it's just the truth. Julika quietly walks over to the corner of the room. Honk notices and follows after her. Honk asks Julika if she's alright. Julika nods and says she just needed to get away from all the fighting. Julika then tells Honk she'll come back over soon, she just needs a second to breathe. Honk tells her if there's anything wrong he's here and willing to listen. Julika thanks Honk, but tells him she's dealt with this before and she just needs a moment.
I just started feeling anxious watching all the fighting, so I walked away for a moment. But I'm alright, really.
Julika quietly rejoins the group, most of the queens don't notice. The fighting has cooled down. Typhlosion says she wants a posing challenge, which causes the other queens to laugh.
I'm not much for drama. And from what I've heard most of these girls say they don't either. But they're also a bunch of drama queens. Maybe after today's challenge, most of the queens will have forgotten what they're even mad about.
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, wait, that's just Flygon's meaty tuck. False alarm. Emma won the mini challenge.
Can Emma stop winning everything? Thank you. How are any of us supposed to get seen when the sisters are here absorbing all the spotlight?
I'm leaving Tigrera in my dust.
I don't care, it's just a stupid mini challenge.
Hello queens. I heard a rumor that there was a lot of shouting in here not too long ago. My girls aren't fighting, are they?
Heh. She says that like they don't have cameras around us recording the whole thing.
Queens, I love the fire you have in the competition. So why don't we take this fight to the next level? It's time for the snatch game.
Finally, the snatch game. This is the challenge that every queen should have prepared for. Especially me.
This is a challenge I've been excited for. It always looked like fun on TV.
Now I won't waste too much of your time. I'm living for the drama. Remember, this has been a challenge that's broken queens in the past, and it's been a challenge that has made queens as well. Good luck, and don't fuck it up. Hunk pulls Julika and Sonia aside and asks if they'd like to work at his station. Julika and Sonia agree. Typhlosion overhears and asks Hunk if she can work at his station as well. Hunk agrees but reminds her to focus on the challenge. Typhlosion says she heard what he said, and she will make sure to focus on her work.
I really like this group. Hunk's nice. Julika's silent, but deadly. I'm Sonia. And Typhlosion is learning. It's a great time.
Emma asks Kitty who she's doing for Snatch Game. Kitty tells her she's decided to be José from the Redonkulous race. Emma tells her that's a great choice and adds fuck that bitch.
José was a member of the Ice Dancers. She was wild, evil, and cruel. She also flopped Isma's drag race. So I'll be enjoying myself with this one.
Kitty asks Emma who she's doing. Emma says she's decided to do My Valentine. Kitty asks the same one from season 1, and Emma adds the resident judge of cartoon drag race Toon World. Kitty says she's fierce. Weiss overhears this and turns directly to the camera with a goofy expression.
Don't get me wrong. Mai's fierce. But she's not exactly a comedian. In fact, didn't she go home on Snatch Game? She didn't? I guess I'm misremembering. Emma's been on the top for a while, but the problem is when you're winning everything. You get comfortable. And I think this week she might be flying a bit too close to the sun.
I chose Mai because it's undoubted she's had a glow up since she last competed in Toon Madness. And I think if I can portray that well, I will be able to continue my top streak.
Peridot is pulling out her outfit and wigs. Typhlosion approaches and asks Peridot if they can talk. Peridot says they can. Typhlosion is quiet for a moment, then she says she's sorry for being careless with the last challenge. She says the last thing she wanted was to be a burden to Peridot or anyone, and she should have read the script. Peridot says it's alright. Peridot is then quiet for a moment, then quietly says she's sorry for blaming her in Untucked for her performance. Typhlosion tells her she was right to tell her the truth, because she needed the wake-up call. Peridot asks if they can be friends, and Typhlosion says of course, and the two hug.
It was good to make up with Peridot. I think we'll be good friends going forward.
So Typhlosion and I have moved past last week. Now it's time to focus on the Maxi Challenge.
Typhlosion says she's going to head back to work, but before she leaves, who is Peridot going to play for Snatch Game? Peridot tells Typhlosion she'll be playing Yellow Diamond.
I've met a lot of Claudes. But the biggest Claude of all, and I do mean big, is that of Yellow Diamond. She's one of the gem matriarchs. She's also a stuck-up bitch. I used to serve under her before I joined the Crystal Gems, so it's safe to say I know this character well.
Tigrera and Weiss are preparing their wigs. Tigrera asks Weiss who she's doing for Snatch Game. Weiss says she's made up her mind. Tigrera asks what she means. Weiss tells Tigrera she will be doing Blaney. Tigrera stops what she's doing and tells Weiss that's gutsy. Weiss agrees.
I want to get my first win. And to do that, I need to be taking risks. What better risk is there than playing Blaney? Sure, if I bomb I'm done in this competition, but go big or go home, am I right?
If there's one thing I'll say about Weiss is she's got guts. Honestly, you're probably expecting me to say you shouldn't do a Snatch Game of the host because what if they bomb? But I really respect it. I'll root for Weiss. Of course, for second place, because I want first.
Weiss asks Tigrera who she'll be doing for Snatch Game. Tigrera says she'll be playing Quaquaval. Weiss asks who that is, and Tigrera tells Weiss Quaquaval is a Pokemon queen from Cartoon Drag Race Toon World.
Quaquaval is the dancing duck clown of Cartoon Drag Race Toon World. Quaquaval is a bitch, but a competent bitch. And I know it opens the door for a lot of shade.
I still don't know who that is, but hopefully Tigrera can make this Quacuva? Oh. Whatever, you know what I mean. I hope she can make them funny.
Julika, Sonia, Hunk, and Typhlosion are preparing their wigs. Typhlosion asks Hunk what's it like being a part of the Voltron dynasty. Hunk explains it's been going good recently. Princess Allura is working to open her design school. Lance is looking into the venue. Keith and Allura are preparing the courses. And Shiro and Pidge are coming up with the advertising. Julika says she didn't know Princess Allura was opening a design school and admits she would have attended it had she known. Hunk says it's not opening until he gets back. Sonia says how's Princess Allura as a teacher, and says she seems very patient. Hunk says she can be tough when she needs to be.
Allura is working hard behind the scenes to open a design school. And I know it'll be fantastic. Who wouldn't want to attend her design school?
Hunk asks the queens who they're going to be playing for Snatch Game. Sonia says she'll be playing Betty White. Typhlosion says gag, and asks Sonia if she can be that funny. Sonia says she's been practicing, and she's hopeful her work will pay off.
I need to do great in this week's challenge. I can't afford to back down now, because I need to show that first week wasn't all that I have brought with me.
Julika says she will play Elvira. Typhlosion comments that's a good choice for Julika. Julika admits she's really nervous about this challenge. Sonia tells her to be confident, she's sure Julika can do it. Julika thanks them. Hunk tells the queens he'll be playing B from Total Drama Revenge of the Island. Julika asks Hunk if he's sure. Hunk says he is, and Julika points out B's gimmick is that he doesn't talk. Hunk says that is one thing that he can work with. Sonia wishes Hunk luck.
I'm really nervous about this week's challenge. I wasn't the best actress last week. And I don't know if I truly can give Elvira the justice she deserves. But I don't know who else I'm supposed to do.
I'm trying to challenge myself. B is fiercely intelligent and notably silent. I'm going to have to lean into a lot of elements of my drag to make this performance work.
Hunk asks Typhlosion who she's doing for Snatch Game. Typhlosion says she's going to play Flygon. Sonia gasps, and asks if she's really doing Flygon. Typhlosion offers to show them her Flygon impression. Typhlosion starts to impersonate Flygon. She then asks what they thought of her performance. Hunk, Julika and Sonia are all silent and staring in shock. Typhlosion asks again what they thought. Julika turns to Hunk and Sonia and says someone say something nice. Hunk asks Typhlosion if she has a backup.
That's a bad sign, right?
Typhlosion says her only other choice is Garchomp, but she's very shaky on it. Sonia says they should hear it anyway, and Julika tells Sonia that Typhlosion gave her Garchomp impression in last week's challenge. Sonia says, oh. Sonia then tells Typhlosion to start learning the words to the lip-sync song. Typhlosion says it's not that bad, right? Julika tells her it's that bad, and Hunk just says it's better to be prepared at least right.
Typhlosion is going to be in the bottom tonight.
I was worried I was going to be the worst in this week's challenge. I don't know how I can be the worst in the challenge now.
I really don't want to go home tonight. I'm not going to go into this challenge having already given up. I'm going to prove Hunk, Julika, and Sonia wrong.
Emma and Kitty are doing their makeup. Kitty asks Emma if she thinks the other queens are annoyed they're both here. Emma says yes. Kitty says not Hunk and Sonia though, and she can't see Julika holding a grudge. Emma tells Kitty to remember the queens are their competition, and when push comes to shove, the others will cut them if given the chance. Kitty tells Emma that not everyone is like that. Kitty then asks Emma if she thinks Tigrera will go off on them again if they're in the top. Emma says she thinks Tigrera is going home today. Kitty laughs and says that's true. Tigrera walks over to her makeup station. The sisters focus on doing their makeup. Tigrera starts doing her makeup and asks Kitty if she has anything she wants to say to her. Kitty says she has nothing she really wants to say. Emma tells Tigrera to leave Kitty alone. Tigrera doesn't turn away from the mirror, and sarcastically says, "So I didn't just overhear you two shading me behind my back." Emma says, "So what about it?" Tigrera asks if they got the guts to say it to her face. Emma tells Tigrera she thinks she's going home today. Tigrera says they can think what they want. Kitty asks what the point of that was, and Tigrera says she keeps it real. If she has anything to say about someone behind their back, she'd say it to their face. Kitty says that doesn't make it true. Tigrera chuckles and says what she said clearly bothered her. Kitty yells at Tigrera if she wanted her bothered, well, she's bothered. Tigrera then says she doesn't care if they're bothered, she just says what she thinks, and if they can't take that, it's a them problem. Emma says bitch under her breath. Weiss then comes over and asks if they're discussing anything interesting. Tigrera says she's just doing her lashes. Weiss says she snuck in a few chocolate bars into the workroom if anyone wants any. Kitty shouts chocolate, but Emma puts her arm between the two saying they're good. Kitty tries to interject, but Emma whispers that it could be laced with laxatives. Kitty pouts and says she won't have any. Weiss gives a confused look then says okay, and walks away eating the chocolate bar.
That was weird. I guess they're on a diet or something. Oh well. That's more chocolate for me.
It's clear the sisters are pressed. Quite like a panini.
There was no chance that I was going to risk Kitty being sabotaged. Plus Tigrera is a bitch.
I want chocolate.
Hello and welcome to the main stage of Cartoon Drag Race Toon Madness. I'm your host, Blanley Stacey Andrews O'Halloran. Please welcome our extra special guest judge, the Miss Congeniality of Season 1, Roberta Tubbs. Roberta, how have you been since Season 1?
That's a very interesting story actually.
Sorry, we don't have the time. This week our queens were tasked with performing in the Snatch Game. And tonight on the runway, category is Nightmare on the Runway. Racers, start your engines, and may the best drag artist win. Weiss Schnee, Peridot, Sonia Nevermind, Hunk, and Blade Tigrera had a great Snatch Game.
Did you have any doubts? Of course I did a good Blanley. I am Weiss Schnee after all.
I gave a Snatch Game so good, I'm worried that Yellow Diamond will give up on her redemption arc and just shatter me straight up.
My Betty Davis had Blanley laughing so hard. I'm feeling good about this challenge.
I gave my all to do justice. And I think I achieved that.
Maybe it says something that I can play a bitch so well. Anyways, I think this makes up for the first 2 weeks, right?
Kitty had a good Snatch Game.
I got some laughs. I'm feeling good about what I did as Jose.
Julika Kufane and Emma had a bad Snatch Game.
I bombed, I just know I bombed. I am sorry to Elvira.
Blanley just said okay, whenever I made a joke. I don't think she liked my Valentine.
Typhlosion flopped the Snatch Game.
What does it mean when Blanley stops for a couple minutes and stares at you with an ugly face?
Category is Nightmare on the Runway. Kitty slayed the runway.
For my Nightmare on the Runway look, I come out in this black feathered cloak. I open the cloak to reveal all my guts are hanging out. And I look like a beautiful monster on this stage.
Peridot, Blade Tigrera, Hunk, and Emma had a great runway.
For my Nightmare on the Runway look, I come out as the true horror of any gem. Being shattered, I'm covered in protruding limbs. I've painted a face of horror on, and I've got a second head awkwardly protruding from my shoulder.
For my Nightmare on the Runway look, I come out as a killer clown. My blades go great with this look. And I'm coming to eat all the children in town and maybe have some ice cream for dessert.
For my nightmare on the runway look, I come out as this mermaid fantasy. And when I take off my mask, there's just blood and fangs.
For my nightmare on the runway look, I come out in this long black dress. I turn around, and you just see rubies dripping from my back like blood. I'm hoping this look is good enough to save me from the bottom.
Sonia never mind, Weiss Schnee, Julika Kufane, and Typhlosion had a good runway.
For my nightmare on the runway look, I come out in this witch's costume. I'm carrying this rotten apple. And when I take a bite, I fall over dead on the runway. Not literally, of course.
For my nightmare on the runway look, I come out in this coat inspired by the Grim back in Remnant. I've even got a matching Grim mask.
For my nightmare on the runway look, I come out in this black bodysuit. I've got these black claws. And I'm out here giving my best Edward Scissorhands impression.
For my nightmare on the runway look, I come out in this fiery clown look. I'm giving killer clown realness on this stage.
Alright, thank you, queens. I've made some decisions. When I call your name, please step forward. Weiss Schnee. Kitty. Hunk. You three are safe, and may go untuck. The rest of you represent the tops and bottoms of the week. Starting first with, Julika Kufane.
Julika, I think you struggled with the snatch game. And I do sympathize, since I know the pressure of this challenge. However, that doesn't make your performance better. When you come out as someone as iconic as Elvira, you got to make sure to do them justice. And you unfortunately didn't tonight.
As for your runway, I think this has been your weakest runway so far. Which surprised me considering you're known for your willingness to go into the scary and the macabre. And what's most unfortunate, I was missing that girl from the design challenge. The one who came out here and owned the stage. Julika, I believe you've got a lot of potential, but I'm starting to worry you're slipping. Emma, what happened tonight? I am surprised at how you did this week. This is not the caliber of performance we've come to expect from you. I don't know why you picked My Valentine for Snatch Game, but I'm afraid I didn't buy your performance and it just wasn't funny. Which is unfortunate because I've seen how strong of a performer you can be. This was unfortunately an off week for you.
Now I will say Emma. Snatch Game has tripped up many queens before. In fact, Marinette herself was in the bottom in her Snatch Game and let me tell you she's fucking fierce. I believe Blaney when she says you're fierce, but sometimes we fail. And tonight, you failed.
I'm feeling frustrated. This is not how I want my time on the show to go. This is Snatch Game, I should have been more prepared. I'll just have to work harder.
Peridot.
Peridot, when you called yourself a giraffe neck-ass bitch. I'm sorry, I was dying when you said that. You may be small and have lime Dorito hair, but girl you are funny. I couldn't keep my eyes off of you.
And this runway, Peridot, you've been a real delight for me in this competition. Each week, your perspective on drag is so fun and unique. Keep doing what you're doing, and it will take you far in this competition. Blade Tigrera. Tigrera, I must confess, I didn't believe you had what it takes. But I'm proud to say you proved me wrong tonight. I love seeing when a queen starts on a low, then turns it around quickly. You were giving me fierce clown bitch, and you were giving me Quaquaval. I like the Tigrera I see tonight.
And for your runway, this is so good, it'll be haunting me in my sleep tonight. Tigrera, I've never met this Quaquaval. But they better be as fierce of a bitch as you were tonight, because I'd tip at their shows. Great job tonight.
Sonia never mind.
Sonia, the transformation. I really thought you were an old queen. I actually needed Blaney to tell me you played Betty Davis. This was such a fun Snatch Game. You got Betty Davis's sense of humor down well.
Sonia, I've enjoyed watching you rise in this competition. You've done well to redeem yourself from that first challenge. And to add to what Roberta said, no one here can clock you on your makeup. But I still think you can improve your runways overall. I'd like to be gagged when you come out on that runway at some point, and that is my challenge to you. Great work tonight, Sonia. And finally, Typhlosion. Typhlosion, I am going to try and keep this simple. This was easily the worst Snatch Game of the night. And in my opinion one of the worst in the entirety of Toon Madness. And I'm at a loss for words right now. Typhlosion, I think you're a nice queen, but you're just not ready for this competition.
Typhlosion, that was hard to watch. That's all I'll say about your snatch game. And your runway wasn't that amazing. I think it hurts you a bit to have Tigrera also come out in a clown look and do so much better than you. I think you've still got a lot of work to do.
Alright queens, I've made some decisions. Peridot. Tonight, the judges lived for your giraffe neck fantasy. Blade Tigrera. Now this is what I call top tier shade. Sonia, never mind. Tonight, your Betty Davis left the judges starstruck. Peridot. Blade Tigrera. Congratulations, you are both the winners of this week's challenge. Sonia, never mind, you are safe and may step to the back.
It feels great to finally win a challenge. I can't wait to tell Lapis.
I now have a win in this competition. I bet you thought I couldn't do it.
I'm happy for Peridot and Tigrera. The two of them earned this win.
Julika Kufane. Tonight, you didn't become the mistress of the dark. Emma. Tonight, your My Valentine wasn't fit for the stage. Typhlosion. You're in danger, girl. Emma. You are safe. That means Julika Kufane and Typhlosion. I'm sorry my dears, but you're up for elimination.
I just feel ashamed. I've disappointed Blanley, and myself.
I'm feeling a lot of emotions right now, because Blanley said I wasn't ready for this competition. I'm feeling very defeated.
Two queens stand before me. Ladies, this is your last chance to impress me and save yourselves from elimination. Good luck, and don't fuck it up. The lip sync song is Smooth Operator by Sade. Julika Kufane and Typhlosion flopped the lip sync.
I'm just heartbroken watching this lip sync. You can just sense they've both given up.
Julika always struck me as a bit sensitive. And I can't quite blame Typhlosion being off her game after the critique she got. It's unfortunate.
I've made my decision. Julika Kufane. You are slipping in this competition. Wake up because you belong here. Now, Shantae, you stay. Typhlosion. There's a fire in you. Nurture it, and it will grow into something beautiful. Now, sashay away.
It's time for this Pokemon to return to Instagram.
Queens, this competition is fierce, and it may trip you up, but remember to rise back up because our mistakes are there for us to grow from. Now you may go untucked. Back in Untucked, Weiss says she wishes she could have been in the top this week. Kitty tells Weiss safe is good. Weiss says she guesses it's better than being in the bottom again. Hunk says he'd like to be in the top again, but he's not complaining. Kitty asks what they think the placements will be. Weiss says she thinks Tigrera won the challenge. Hunk says he thinks Peridot won. Kitty says she's hoping for Sonia to win. Weiss smirks and turns to Kitty and says Emma's in the bottom. Kitty takes a sip of her drink and rolls her eyes. She then asks who they think is going home. Weiss sighs and says she thinks Typhlosion is going. The remaining queens return from the main stage. Weiss takes a sip of her drink and notices Typhlosion is gone. Peridot says she's going to miss Typhlosion. Emma scoffs and says really? Hunk tells the queens Typhlosion said she and Peridot had a good talk in the workroom. Kitty asks who won, and Sonia explains that Peridot and Tigrera both won. The queens congratulate the two on their win. Emma says she'll congratulate them because she's not the queen who will kick a queen for being in the top. Tigrera tells her that she's the type of queen who keeps it real. Weiss points out Julika is being quiet. Sonia asks how she's doing. Julika is quiet for a moment, then she breaks down sobbing. She says she was so afraid she was going home, and all she could think about in that moment was how she was letting everyone back home down. Sonia and Hunk comfort her, as she keeps sobbing. The queens congratulate her on winning the lip sync, and when she finishes crying she says she's not ready to go home, she doesn't want to be in the bottom again. Tigrera says they're all glad she's still here, but she can't give up in the lip sync again. Julika promises she won't. The queens sip their drinks and bond.